Hey everybody, it's Daniel. Well, as you can see, I got one. This is the Gibson Les Paul Standard Greeny. So this is the guitar that was owned by, this is based on the guitar that was owned by Peter Green, then Gary Moore, and is now owned by Kirk Hammett. So the provenance of this guitar, the story behind this guitar, it's a guitar that was owned by Peter Green, who succeeded Eric Clapton in the Blues Breakers. He later went on to, with a bunch of the members of the Blues Breakers, to go form Fleetwood Mac. Yes, that Fleetwood Mac. And then I guess Gary Moore was playing, his band was opening for Peter Green. They became good friends, and Peter Green sold this guitar to Gary Moore at the cost that he paid for it. And so Gary had this guitar for decades, 2-3 decades at least, maybe 4. Then he sold it in the 2000s or the 2010s to a collector, and then that collector sold it to Kirk Hammett, who now owns it. Kirk Hammett turned around and I think it was last year, or a year or two ago, and teamed up with the people at Gibson to create limited edition $50,000 one, then a $20,000 one, now this one. At time of filming, they're also rumored, or it's basically been a confirmed rumor that they're going to be doing the Epiphone Les Paul Greeny. But I'm sorry, in my view, and as good as the Epiphones have been, in my view, if you're going to go for the Greeny provenance, go with the Gibson. So this is it. So this guitar, first of all, it's all satin. The neck is satin, headstock, body, back, sides, all of it is satin. No gloss on it whatsoever. So that means that it will show the pick scratches, the dings, the dents. It will age differently. It will definitely fade a lot quicker than a guitar with gloss. I would say it's got a wide 50s neck. Comparing this guitar neck to my Gibson Les Paul Standard 50s, this one feels a little thinner, but it's a little bit more girth back here. This guitar, the Greeny, it's a little bit wider and not as much girth on the back. It's got these, as of now, exclusive to the Greeny series, Greeny Buckers. So they, as you'll hear, they've got a little bit more bite, a little bit more punch than your Burst Buckers or 57 Classics, but they're still not like shrill or over the top or high gain pickups. They're meant to sound kind of like a little bit beefier. PAFs with a little bit more bite. That's about it. So I'm just gonna run through a couple little tones here. We're gonna run it through my clean amp first, which is a Vox AC4 TB. Got it on the 1 watt setting. So we'll start with the neck pickup. We'll go to the bridge. Now let's go to that honky middle. So as you can kind of hit, well, here, let's do some chords here. We'll go to the neck. Bridge. Now middle. So you can kind of hear it, that out of phase tone, the middle position. So either before Peter Green bought it or when he bought, or after he bought it, at some point this neck pickup was swapped. Like you can see the pull pieces are on this side rather than up here. But it wasn't just flipped around, like the wiring was flipped around. So when you get in this middle, like when in the neck or on the bridge, nothing changes. When you get to the middle position, it's an out of phase tone. So, but kind of with that at phase tone, you're gonna get some volume drop, as you heard. So that's just something to put ahead for those of you who aren't as experienced with that kind of sound. I'll be honest with you, I'm not as experienced with that kind of sound, so that was kind of a little bit of a shock, that little volume drop. But probably shouldn't have been, because it is out of phase. So just something to put on your plate. It's a cool sound, but you will get volume drop. So anyway, now we're gonna go into my little Black Star Let's see, it's the HT1R, I think Mark II in baby blue. It's my distorted amp. So we'll go through the neck position, bridge, now that special one, middle, now chords, neck, bridge, middle, so you can definitely hear the Still Got the Blues album. This guitar just screams it. Like, in my previous takes on this video, on this review, both times I did a couple of the songs off the Still Got the Blues album. Said not to do it just in case of copyright strikes, but yeah, like this guitar just makes me want to do Still Got the Blues, or the infamous song, Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac song, Oh Well. So it definitely has that feel. Real quickly, I do want to give a shout out to Audiomo Music, Trogley, and Trogley, both of whose reviews, after seeing their reviews, kind of told me, okay, I need to get myself one. I'd been thinking about, been looking at, watched a bunch of different reviews, like retailers were doing the reviews and stuff, but seeing Audiomo and Trogley kind of go through and pinpoint, and kind of take them apart and look at it and kind of explain a lot of the different things, it just told me, yeah, this is the right guitar for me. So, is this the right guitar for you? So, let me just say, if you're a big Greeny file like me, if you like that classic rock and blues rock style, if you like, if you're enamored with the provenance of Greeny, of the Greeny Les Paul, Peter Green, Gary Moore, Kirk Hammett, this is your kind of guitar. If you want a Greeny, but you're like me, you're a working musician who can't afford $20,000, can't afford $50,000. Reality probably can't even really afford $3,000, but maybe you can afford $150 a month, $200 a month, $140 a month, over 2 years. This is your kind of guitar. If you wanted a Gibson Les Paul Standard, but you hate the gloss finish, like your hands, like you sweat, and so playing a Les Paul Standard that's got a gloss neck, like that's just gonna make your hands stick, and it's gonna make it harder for you to, glide up and down this guitar. This guitar is for you. Or if you're like me, you love the Greeny Les Paul, you want something like that, but you don't like relic guitars. I cannot begin to underscore my disdain for relic guitars. There are many guitars that look cool, that look just awesome. I won't touch them. I would never even think about buying them because they're relic. My thing is, after a month or two of me owning this guitar, it's gonna look relic on its own. That's for me playing it around my house. That's for me carrying it, taking it from my bed to the guitar stand that it's gonna be in. That's gonna be for me taking it, lugging it around to my guitar lessons, to taking it to friends' houses. It's gonna get a ding, a scratch, a bump. Keys are gonna hit it. It's gonna fall, hit a table. You know, there's gonna be little dings and dents on the headstock from it hitting something. It's gonna get dings on here, and on here from when I'm putting it in the stand. It's hitting other guitars. I don't need Gibson to charge me tens of thousands of dollars to hit my guitar with belt buckles and ding it and dent it and scratch it. I'm gonna do that myself. So this is perfect. This is going to be a perfect guitar for you if you're like me. If you have a complete aversion to relic guitars, I would highly suggest buying one. If you have the ability, if you have a vendor, a guitar center or whatever near you that has one of these guitars, go test it. Chances are you're probably not. You're probably going to be doing like I did. Through Sweetwater, you're just going to be pre-ordering it and just trying it. That would be my suggestion. If you can try it. Not, go for it. Personally, I love it. And let me tell you, I'm not big on satin guitars. It's not a deal killer for me. But it is something that makes me pause, typically. But again, I knew what this guitar was, and I felt that it was just special enough. The opportunity was there. Even as a working guitarist, a working man, I can afford $140. I can afford $150 a month. I can afford that. That's doable. And I think it's a nice trade-off for this kind of guitar. I mean, Gary Moore and Peter Green are two guitarists I really like. I really love their tones and their style of playing. So to get a copy of this guitar, I've been looking for Gibson to do a kind of guitar like this for a long time. I even remember back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s, they had a limited edition before he passed away, a limited edition Gary Moore guitar that looked like this. Except I heard that the pickups weren't out of phase. This one has them out of phase. But that Gary Moore at that time, I just didn't have the money. I couldn't even afford to make minimum payments. I didn't. I think the job I had, I was making $600 to $800 a month. So $150, $140 a month, that just wasn't doable for me at that time. You know, the kind of payments I would need to make on that guitar, I just didn't have that money. That money was spent on food, gas, and bills. So, since I have a better job, I can afford to make little payments like this. I'm still making payments on that PRS SE, or that PRS S2 10th anniversary. So, yeah, I can make $150 payments on this, $100 payments on that, and I'm fine. I can do that. So, if someone were to ask me, hey, Daniel, is it worth it? I'd say absolutely. Go for it. Again, my only complaints with the guitar, I mean, again, it is a funny complaint since they're open, like it's not a secret. Typically, satin guitars are not my thing. And then the only other thing would be that just, again, and I don't think, I mean, again, this is kind of a strange thing to complain about, is the volume drop in that out of phase tone. But with everything else, like, okay, that's two small things with it. Clear in a way, this, I would buy it. I mean, I would buy it again. I mean, like, another reason to buy this guitar is if you want to stand out in a band, you want to have a different tone or something, that makes you unique. There's nothing more unique than this tone. That middle phase honky little tone envelope, almost like a cocked wah kind of sound, envelope filter kind of tone is already built in this guitar. And what more can you ask for? So that's my review. If you have this guitar, leave comments down. Put some comments down. What did you think? Do you like it? Did you hate it? Did you send it back? What did you think the strengths or the weaknesses of this guitar were? If you are looking to buy this guitar, what questions do you have? I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. But yeah, if I can help you make that choice, yeah, feel free to ask me questions in the comments. I'll be taking this with me in my guitar lesson tomorrow, and a couple of my friends who work at the place where I get my lessons have been asking me about this. So until then, see you later.